Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. A high-ranking general in the Russian armed forces and his assistant have been killed in Moscow by Ukraine's security service. Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov, head of the Nuclear, Biological, Chemical Defense Forces, was outside a residential block when a device hidden in a scooter was detonated remotely. Pictures from the scene showed the badly damaged entrance to a building with scorch marks on the walls and a number of windows blown out. The block was cordoned off as Russian investigators continued combing the area. A source in Ukraine's SBU security service claimed Kirillov was a legitimate target who had carried out war crimes. French aid workers, police and army personnel have left to help the search and rescue mission in Mayotte after Cyclone Chido hit the French island on Saturday. Close to 1,000 people are feared dead after the strongest storm in more than 90 years to hit the islands. The nearby islands of Comoros and Madagascar were also struck. A 7.4 magnitude earthquake has hit Vanuatu's capital, Port Vila, damaging buildings and cars with at least one person reportedly killed. Footage from Vanuatu state broadcaster VBTC showed vehicles crushed under a building that collapsed on a street lined with retailers. The broadcaster reported one person had been trapped in a collapsed building. The United States says North Korean troops have been killed fighting Ukrainian forces in Russia's Kursk border region. These would be the first reported casualties since it emerged in October that North Korea had sent around 10,000 troops to reinforce Russia's war effort. Ukraine's military intelligence unit, the GUR, also said at least 30 North Korean troops had been killed or wounded in fighting over the weekend. More than 50 people have been killed in Israeli air and ground attacks across the Gaza Strip. They said children, a cameraman who worked for the Al Jazeera TV network, and personnel from the Civil Defense Agency were among the dead. The Israeli military said it targeted sites used by Hamas and the allied armed group Palestinian Islamic Jihad. The Hamas-run health ministry said the deaths meant the number of Palestinians killed in Gaza during the 14-month war between Israel and Hamas had surpassed 45,000. A student has opened fire at a private Christian school in the U.S. state of Wisconsin, injuring 6 people and killing a teenager and a teenage student.
Our officers were responding.
Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes identified the attacker as a 15-year-old female student at the school. Authorities say the attacker was in attendance at Abundant Life Christian School before opening fire and was found dead at the scene. 6 students were injured, including 2 who suffered life-threatening injuries.
We know that at least 3 people have lost their lives, including a juvenile person. I don't have any other information about those persons who have lost their lives, and I'm not going to release that until we have, of course, spoken with family members and ensuring that they are fully aware of this tragic scene that occurred today.
A state of emergency has been declared in Russia's Anapa region due to a huge oil spill following an oil tanker being broken in 2. Spilled oil has washed up along tens of kilometers of the Russian Black Sea coast after 2 tankers were badly damaged in a storm at the weekend. Footage shows a Russian oil tanker broken in half and sinking amid a heavy storm with streaks of oil visible in the water. And a project is underway on a beach in Venezuela that seeks to mitigate the effects of global warming on reefs. Small pieces of coral are placed on tree-shaped structures in 300 square meter spaces at the bottom of the sea. Once the corals grow to about 40 centimeters, they are replanted in reefs to help with their rehabilitation. According to data from the foundation, by 2024, 2,500 fragments of Porites-class corals, one of the most common in oceans and tropical seas, will have been planted. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.